That's the time. Yeah, the same.
One of the clocks says it's noon, so welcome everybody to Harbor Springs Harbor Commission special meeting, January 21, 25. Because this is a special meeting, we really only have one topic. We're not going to do the usual round of every topic. So what I'd like to do would be to open with a roll call. Victor, you want to do the roll?
Yes, I will do the roll. Thanks, Bill. Greg Fisher,
Here.
Rick Weinberg,
Here.
Bill Brown,
Here.
Bill McCullough,
Here.
Gail Stevens,
Here.
Tom Baker,
Here.
and Karen Stroud Dominic. Here. We do have a quorum. We also have Sharon Mahalik attending via Zoom.
Hi, Sharon. Alrighty. The council last night, changed the order of, the meetings and put the, approval of the agenda ahead of approval of the minutes. Is that something?
Though that was just for the council agendas. So our bylaws, this agenda is fine, unless you guys want to change that.
Yeah, I believe I read that we can rearrange it any way we want,
Yeah,
anytime we want, so. All right, so, our agenda today, we're gonna start off with approval of the minutes from our meeting in October. I only had a couple of comments on that. The document didn't have the date at the top, which I'm sure, we can fix at some point in time. I had a question about, a commissioner was absent and was recorded as a nay vote. There you go, on B. Karen was either on Zoom or not. I don't remember if you
I
were,
was across the ocean.
but that's right, but I know that, so that counts as a no vote or as more like a,
Absent, it says she should be absent.
right, but does that count as a no vote?
No, unless she was present and abstained.
Okay, so maybe change that from saying nay to absent or missing. And then there was one other thing, under Chief Knight's comments, it says voters demanding towing services. I think maybe needing might be, they don't demand service. And we don't actually owe it to them other than like law of the sea and that sort of thing. Yeah, good guys. Okay, so I'd maybe change that from demanding to needing, if that works for you. Anybody else have any comments on the minutes from our last regular meeting?
The only page that doesn't have a date is page 1. All the other pages are dated correctly. October.
Yeah, I see at the top. Should be
Yeah,
October 9th.
the header there. So, you get a motion to approve?
That's correct.
Approve is correct.
John has moved. Anybody want to second that?
Second.
Greg seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, done deal. I would like to add by consensus, a couple of things to our agenda. I would like to have a select vice chair. I ascended or was volunteered to chair by Jim Bartlett's exit. And we can select a vice chair who I believe technically would serve until June when we have our regular annual election of chair and vice chair.
That's correct. So Bill McCullough as a vice chair would serve as chair.
Chair till June, and then we
According
have
to
our
bylaws.
regular election at our
and
first
so-
regular meeting. Then the other thing, I would add two other things. One would be to welcome our new members, Eric and Gail, who are both here today, gentlemen. Thank you. And to acknowledge and thank JB and Chip Everett for their service. I have a little document prepared by the city. I don't know that we need a vote on that, but maybe by consensus, we acknowledge and thank prior members. Anybody opposed to that?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, to business. Do we have the drawings?
Do public comment first.
Is there anybody that wishes to comment on anything that is not on the agenda for our special meeting today? Silence. All right,
Well, I'd like to comment on, I think we all got this page right here from JB.
from Mr. Bartlett.
The second question was, did staff ever answer my question at the last meeting under item 3 as to why seasonal mooring revenue is down so significantly? I unfortunately suffered a family death just after the meeting and kind of got caught up on all those issues. So I have to apologize for not getting to that, but it will be, be your May, we'll get it to you, or I'll try to get a document to you here in the next couple of weeks to explain that.
Is it your, I won't hold it to you opinion that it was a bookkeeping error as opposed to an actual?
It was a booking error.
Yeah,
Bookkeeping
so
error, yes,
we'll sort that out.
but I kind of lost track of that a little.
Right, and I understand that the city clerk is out sick right now too, so we'll get that squared. We won't forget about it.
Okay.
We'll be there. So. No old business, no public comment. Little Harbor Club Bottomlands conveyance. In order for the Little Harbor Club to expand the dock, if they wish to do, the DNR requires that the city say, yeah, we're cool with it. So that's why we're here. Can we get the, there you go. So has everybody on the commission seen this document?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that one's right, is cool right there.
The one.
Yeah, that's, so basically that's the footprint. The the lighter yellow drawing there shows the existing dock. The darker gray shows the proposed new dock. There you have it. I would open the floor to any, not the floor, but open the discussion to any of the members. If they have anything they wish to weigh in on relative to this expanded use.
Bill, I would maybe perhaps first ask the applicants if they have anything to say on behalf of their project as to why they're doing this or what they're doing. And maybe give some information before you have questions. That'd be my suggestion.
What you said.
I knew that was driving a bus. Yeah, if you want to just say what you know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, my name is Zach Jones, owner, operator, Wallstrom Docking, driving along with my co-owner and crane operator, Andy Stillings. This is a project that there's been conversations around for a couple of years now between us and the client at the Little Harbor Club. And we came up with this design this fall or summer, actually. And so the part of the real issue, at least from a docking standpoint for us, is that the existing dock barely makes it to the edge of the drop off. And so by putting a dock there that only extends that far, we're actually inviting people into what is non-navigable water and onto the sandbar. And as the boats on the harbor have changed and the clientele that is using the dock for tennis and for lunch at the Little Harbor Club has changed, we've gone from little 8 to 12 foot dinghies to now, 18 to 23 foot, ski wakeboard boats, Boston whalers, that type of vessel is now more common boat. And so the existing dock really invites them into a hazardous environment. And so by changing the dock and also presenting something that can accommodate a couple more boats on the dock is, not only is it good for the client and for business at their shop, but also it is actually a safer and better use of that section of waterfront. to help eliminate kind of any congestion and hazard that might exist with that sandbar and drop off if people are more unaware of it. So a lot of thought went into this. We measured and took, kind of consensus amongst us many times. We consulted with Fred as well. And this was after reviewing kind of a few different options, the best that we came up with as far as, overall design, layout, and not interfering with anything else or anybody else on the harbor.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Karen,
So when I first read this, my concern was if the additional length would interfere with some of the other traffic going in front of the Little Harbor Club. In other words, many of us paddle close in to stay out of the wind when the wind's really strong. The coastal crawl, people are hugging the shoreline. I need to use this, you hear me? Hugging the shoreline. From looking at this, it doesn't look like it would, but that was my initial fear, is that it might be a kind of an obstacle for some of that traffic. Not the bigger boat traffic, but some of the smaller traffic going through there.
And, totally valid question and an initial concern. When you look at this, and it's hard to tell from this photo, if you actually go back to the other page, it might show it a little bit better. So while this only has that doesn't have, I was hoping this one had the Harbor Point Association dock in it as well, because when you can see kind of the three of them together, from Little Harbor Club's permanent structure to their new proposed dock to the Harbor Point Association dock, kind of continues that curve around the harbor, and you can kind of tell by that first permanent dock on the point there, they all kind of end up lining up along, so it doesn't change the natural curve of the harbor at that end with that proposed docking. And so maybe you're 10 feet further, because mentally you might adjust for it, but overall it's not going to impact that corner and the natural flow of things for paddling or swimming.
am I correct that there is now another dock between the reverse F and the proposal? Is there another dock that exists now?
And it's on
Pictures.
Google Maps very clearly. It's the Harbor Point Association dock. It's been there ever since I can't tell you when it got put in.
May I ask a question? Have you also consulted with them as to any interference with their dock, even though it doesn't appear to be well used?
We have a written letter that's been submitted to Eagle from the Harbor Point Association that is in favor of our project as it currently stands.
Well, Bill, looking at the harbor map, this dock is certainly within the appropriate limits. It doesn't exceed the building line at all.
Yeah, the only concern that I had, and you've already addressed it, is the drop off there and the stability, because it goes from not very deep to 30 feet deep fairly quickly. And were that to start to slough off with, prop wash and that sort of thing, that might be a bad thing. Have they considered other, that's the design that we're approving. They're not looking to do it like the docks on the other side or anything like that?
That is one option that we've talked about, and I actually recently took measurements on that again, just via Google Maps and looking at some of this stuff. And in order to mirror the dock and say have the finger piers come off on the north side, it would also require shifting the entire dock further to the south.
Move the landing.
Because once you flip those piers to the north, you're gonna end up with, I think it was about 27 feet from the end of the finger pier to the permanent structure. And that's too close to navigate safely in between those two docks with the size boat we're anticipating, whether that's an 18-footer, 20-footer, and to to move the dock that far to the south, you're now talking about doing significant work at shore with removing riprap, likely extending the steel wall that's there, and then kind of replacing and repairing everything messed up to shift it, 40, 50 feet to the south. And so I just think that project is one, it's a much larger scope than what we kind of intended. And it also does a lot more, impacts the environment and the natural shoreline more than, replacing a floating dock with a new floating dock.
What would you guesstimate the depth on the shore side of the most inward, westward finger pier?
Today?
Yeah, we're like a foot above chart datum right now, so I mean, I don't need exact, but it's how.
If you walked out there right
Is
now,
it
16 inches of water on the inside of that first finger.
So that's not navigable unless for Karen maybe, but for most boats, no.
Correct.
And the 3 concrete anchors, what size are those? The scale, I can't make it out from the scale.
You know what, footprint wise, I believe they're about 5 foot by 5 foot. It's based on weight and they're about 10,000 pounds.
5 tons.
And those would all be beyond the toe, if you will, of the
Correct.
drop off. So they're out in the.
We
kind of
took multiple readings out there and it stayed, it drops and then stays flat and then it slopes down again naturally further out into the harbor. So they'd be sitting on a mostly flat bottom.
They wouldn't
also.
affect this slope.
Correct, so they'll be sitting on a flat section and we're having the anchors built. With some of the rebar coming out the bottom, so they actually set and don't slide, so they will in fact, sit, slightly. Basically little spikes coming into the bottom to help them, settle and stay where they're supposed to.
Would that anchor in the south side create an access issue to the finger piers?
No, so one of the nice things about the FPS anchor system is that it anchors crossed underneath the dock. And so the anchor from the south side will run very deep underwater and actually hook up to the north side of the dock. And so it'll cross underneath the dock. And so the sections where the chains are coming toward the surface is actually hidden underneath the finger pier there.
Okay.
And so that we're not anticipating that being in anybody's way, and this is a system that.
And you won't be driving spiles at the end of each one of those docks?
Correct, and that
You
was.
will not?
No,
Okay.
What is, your time schedule for that start to finish? Estimated?
well, we were hoping to have it done by this year, however, with permitting process, so this year being initial install, summer, spring 2025. With the permitting process, and Neil can speak maybe better to what he's seen with Eagle and how long it's been taking for permits with the new direction at that agency. We're on the cusp right now, so it might have to get pushed to 2026.
Anybody?
Are we here only because of the DNR requirement? Like, if not for the DNR requiring us to approve it, would we have a voice in this?
The city has the voice. We are an advisory commission, so we don't actually have the authority. We advise the city as to whether we think it's a good idea, and then the city council puts their moniker on it.
So yes, I did consult with our attorney, Jim Raymer, and he said he would advise that even if this wasn't Eagle required, that we would take it to the Harbor Commission to be heard.
But John,
I'm grateful for all the planning that's going into it. I'm in favor of the project. It makes good sense for any number of reasons. Great.
Okay.
Bill,
yeah, I don't see any negative impact economically. I don't think the aesthetic impact is gonna bother anybody. It doesn't seem to me to be a traffic flow safety issue. So I guess my only concern would be that it does not lead to degradation of, you know, the shoreline by leading to erosion and that sort of thing. And that's gonna depend on the boaters for the most part. You know, if the people who use that dock are, you know, gentle with their throttles and that sort of thing, I don't think it cause much trouble. So I guess I am not opposed to it either.
Bill, I would add that the planning commission is gonna review this for land side.
Yep.
And that at this stage in the process, you might want to open up the public comment. If there's any.
At this point, would it be electrified as well?
No, I do not believe that, I know as far as the plan with the dock build from FDS, there was no electric run in the dock.
There was nothing on the permitting process when we were going down that road either.
So the dock is not for overnight, it's just a, you know, lunch dock.
2-hour dock.
So no power, no utilities, just temporary dockage for, you know, people going to lunch.
Just a question of curiosity, once it's up and it's new, any thought of putting some sort of a night marker on it while it's still new? So that there are those occasions where people might not remember that it's there.
And, you know, that would be up to the Little Harbor Club, but there are lots of options for marking docks. And so that's something that, you know, we can definitely help look into and see what might be appropriate.
I don't think any of the other docks have.
No, I'm just thinking because it's a structure. In the darkness of night, strange things happen.
I think Victor's suggestion that we open it up to anybody in the audience who would like to weigh in one way or another on anything related to the dock. No worries. Anybody want to make a motion relative to this?
I would move that our Harbor Commission approves of the plan as presented.
Would second that.
We have a motion. Any further debate? All right, let's do a roll call.
Gail Stevens,
Support that.
John Baker. Bill McCullough,
Yes.
Bill Brown,
Yes.
Karen Stroud,
Yes.
Eric Winsma,
Yes.
Greg Fisher.
Abstain, conflict.
You're abstaining because you're a member of the Little Harbor Club. This is for the record. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That passes. Motion carried.
Very good. The only other thing on the agenda that I see here is approving our 2025 meeting schedule, which I saw was actually on. Is that document a proposed thing, or is that something that is that part of our minutes from the last?
This document is what we put tentatively on the website based on previous year's Harbor Commission board meeting. So this is just to confirm if you still want to meet on the same time, same date for this
And
year.
we have met on the second Wednesday at 4 o'clock for as long as I can remember. So if we're consistent, that helps people plan ahead. And I'd suggest that would be consistent with what we've always done. And I'd make a motion that we accept that as our regularly scheduled meeting agenda for this coming year.
Support.
We can do it. All in favor. All in favor is fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody vote?
I had a question. When you introduced the new members, welcome.
Thank you.
Is the commission full?
We're fully subscribed at this point, yes. Karen was reappointed last night. And I thought it was interesting, and I'm not gonna bring up the fact that it's inconsistent with our bylaws. But the city council appointed her to not only serve out the remaining year of CHIPS but one additional year because we are rather stacked up with people whose terms are going to end at the end of this year. So like half the commission would either need to be reappointed or find something else to do on Wednesdays. Come the end of this year. So they reappointed her for 2 years. Welcome,
Thank you. Happy to be here.
after a brief absence. All right, there being no further business, unless anybody has anything. Thank everybody for taking the time. And we're adjourned.
Thank you.